Welcome to In the Hot Seat with the Tenney Group. I'm Spencer Tenney. It's good to be with you. If there ever was a market where you need sales training, recruiting support, it is this market. And I've got the perfect guest to address all things related to this. With me now, founder and CEO of Journey, Will Jenkins. Will, welcome to the Hot Seat.
Thanks for having me, Spencer. I appreciate it.
You got some exciting stuff going on, and I can't wait to unpack it. But for now, I want you to take 20, 30 seconds and tell us a little bit about what you're doing at Journey.
Yeah, absolutely. We are a transportation and freight brokerage focused recruiting, training, and consulting company. Most of the organizations we work with are anywhere between about $50 million and $750 million in annual revenue. They're looking to add sales talent, executive roles, really anything under the sun in terms of what they're looking to recruit. And we also help with sales training, structure, how to help their go-to-market strategy be developed, and really look under the hood and figure out what can we do to help them grow. Obviously, it's been a challenging last year and a half, and 2024 is shaping up to be challenging as well. So kind of being able to step in and strategize with them has been fun. And that's typically the style and type of company that we're helping.
Well, game on, sir. Excited to learn about all the things that you're working on. But let's start with the past here, just for some context. Tell us about your career in transportation, some of your high points, and that might help kind of set the stage for the rest of the things that we'll talk about.
Yeah, absolutely. So I got into transportation about 12 or 18 months after graduating college. I went to Illinois Wesleyan in Bloomington where I played football. And my first job out of school was with Kimberly-Clark Professional. I did a sales role there and actually had a couple of really good friends that were business development sales reps at Coyote Logistics. And I didn't know anything about the organization or really how logistics or freight brokerage worked, but they were really happy, making good money, seemed to be having a good time. And I was looking for a new opportunity. So I interviewed there, and this would have been November of 2013. I had the opportunity to be extended an offer on their carrier sales team. So I joined it. I joined as a carrier sales rep in January of 2014, spent 3 years there, really learning the ins and outs of how freight worked. And I'm incredibly appreciative for the things I was able to learn there. It's a great organization. And, spending my first 2 years on carrier sales and then my last year there managing a shipper facing sales group really gave me the right building blocks to understand what a world-class organization does to execute freight. So it was a blast. But that's how I got into the game. And after that, moved to Transport America, an asset-based player based out of Minnesota. I was a director of business development over there. And then a few months after that, co-founded Molo Solutions, which we'll probably dig into here a little bit.
Yes, we will. Fascinating story and career path. Let me just start with some basic stuff. Knowing you a short time, I mean, you just ooze passion for selling and serving. So, like, where does that come from?
I think it comes from coaches and mentors that I had at a young age. So my first mentors were definitely my parents. They've always really been supportive, and like neither of them came from a sales or entrepreneurship background, but they've always been extremely supportive and saying like, go after it, right? We believe that you can go do that. And so I think they set the stage and the example for, if you're willing to put the work in, you can go ahead and figure out a way to succeed. And I think that coaching transitioned into a sales career for me. And when I got into sales at a young age, my first job ever, I used to sell Cutco kitchen cutlery. I had really good mentors there who were just unbelievable support systems. They taught me how do you build rapport, how do you build a book of business from zero? How do you not get sad when you're getting hung up on all the time? And, how do you deal with that rejection? And so once I really started to get my feet wet in sales, I realized, okay, if you're willing to put in the work, you're compensated for the effort that you put in. So it's like, that's really cool. You can really bump up your ability to earn by going and performing. And then I always had really good coaches and people that supported me. So I think a lot of that passion just comes from really wanting to pay it forward because I had people that supported me, and I want to be able to be that person for others as they're, going through their journey.
I love it. I love it. So let's jump into Molo. Very public, rocket ship type growth story. And my belief has inspired many entrepreneurs to get into the brokerage space and to try to replicate what you all were able to accomplish there. Tell me about what did you see from a business development standpoint? What were some of the the keys to activating that rapid growth?
A couple of things. I think if you look at a lot of organizations, when you start to scale a sales team, sometimes executive level leadership is a little bit detached from what it looks like to go ahead and be in front of some of the best opportunities. And I think one of the things that we did very well was keep executive level leadership and founder led sales active throughout the development of the business, which helped teach sales reps what it looked like to go and find good opportunities, relay good stories. I feel like you would understand this, right? You go in and you talk through an opportunity, and your perspective as someone that's a principal in the business is significantly different than someone that's been there for a year and a half, doing their best to kind of talk about what you do. So I think being very invested at the founder level to find and be in front of the best opportunities, help coach sales reps. How do you go and get it done? And I also think it created a lot of buy-in on the shipper side because they knew that the people who had the largest stake in the organization's success were very invested in making sure that we executed business properly. So yeah, you're selling something, you're talking about this story, but we're putting our face and our name on it as people who are invested in seeing this business be successful. So I think that creates buy-in. And then on top of that, when you lead by example and say, okay, look, nobody's too good to do anything. We got to do cold calling. We're going to cold call. We got to write good emails. Fantastic. We're going to do that. If I need to spend some time pricing an RFP because I got to figure out a way to win this business, we're going to do that. And so I think that inspires your team to want to work at a similar clip because they see you leading from the front.
That's good stuff. Now, on the opposite end of that, I think there's probably um, a ton of assumptions about what you might have been doing or not doing. People are out there trying to create similar success, similar exit on the other side of that. What do people not understand about what was required to take the business that you co-founded to, exiting ArcBest? Like what do they not understand, or what are they missing as they're trying to go replicate that?
I think one of the biggest misconceptions is that you can throw a lot of things at the wall and what sticks is going to help you grow the business. You need to be extremely focused about the style of business you want to go after. Not every customer is a good customer. And so we worked through that in our first couple of years. We got really specific about the style of customers that we wanted to onboard. We're incredible at food and beverage. We did really, really well with refrigerated freight. And so those stories translate from shipper to shipper. So it makes it easier to onboard accounts that look like the types of customers you do well with. I think that sometimes is misconstrued. Hey, just go sell to anybody. Like, every customer is not a good customer. The other part is that you can sell as much as you want and get people to say yes. But if you can't execute that business, it doesn't mean anything. So in a field where there are so many competitors that do seemingly the same thing, your true differentiators come down to your ability to execute business. So what's your level of customer service? How do you communicate? What types of things do you do there to stand out? And then how talented are your people? And I think that we did a really good job of putting together the right operational processes so that certain things didn't fall through the cracks. Everybody makes mistakes. Things happen. You're going to fail on shipments. However, at scale, you need everyone working similarly so that your brand representation in the market is the same across accounts. I think that helps you grow. And then also it teaches your people this is the standard, right? This is how we do it. And that's how we do it across the board. So it's easier to scale. And then I alluded to it earlier. I think talent is a big part of it. If you can't go get the right people and you can't retain them, if you don't know how to coach and develop them to make them want to be a part of what you're doing, it's really hard to go compete with the large, very successful organizations in our space that are really good at what they do. You've got to be able to appeal to that talent and say, this is the place that you want to be. And so having the right people to go even get that talent, right? Like, do you have the right recruiting team or HR team to go find the people to help build the business?
Yeah. Now, I know when we met up in Chicago and we were talking about, um, a little bit joking about, but this is a serious deal. This is the type of market where people, they learn who they really are as sales professionals. And so I'm curious, to what degree did that influence, this newest venture with Journey, which we're about to unpack here?
I think it influenced it quite a lot because if you look at a market cycle like the one we're in today, you have to be really good at what you do in order to get customers to say yes. And that is not just a freight thing. If you're selling anything in the market today, there's heightened competition, there's price pressure, there's a ton of decisions being made behind closed doors about how do you figure out the best way to choose the right provider, but you don't want to spend too much money on a particular service. If you're not incredible at presenting that and finding ways to make your brand stand out, you won't win. And so I think during COVID, you kind of saw an inflationary period where you could sell and not be really good at it and still close deals because customers needed trucks or people were spending money.
Mhm.
That is not the case now. And so when I sit back and have the opportunity to kind of peel back layers with the organizations we work with today, a lot of it comes down to how do you structure your process properly so your reps know what to go after so that as the market begins to tick up, you can take advantage of that and you're not starting from a cold start, right? Like you need to be in the blocks ready to go in front of the right opportunities today. But if you're not structured and your reps don't know how to go get after that, it's going to be a tough year.
Yeah. So you mentioned the training. I think it is possible. I mean, some people will say that you know good salespeople can sell anything. I think that's true in some degree, but this is a very complicated space, and like you said, very competitive. Where do you see people making missteps? They bring in great talent. They bring in that A player, but they leave because they're
Yep.
not proper. But they're because they don't feel sufficiently trained. What are employers and high performance teams missing about how do you actually get someone, an A player, positioned to be successful?
I think there are two different kind of avenues that you go. So you could have someone that you're hiring in with experience that is an A player, and you kind of figure that out through the interview process and you validated that they were successful at a previous organization. And so you sold them on joining where you are. And so now you need to onboard them properly so that they feel comfortable that this is the place they should be. There's upward mobility. There's a way for them to grow. There's accounts for them to go get after. And so a lot of what I've seen is that there's a misstep in offer, the person accepts, they're part of your organization. Okay, great. They're going to start, they walk through those doors. Really, what's their first 30 days like, right? What type of training do they get? What people do they meet? What type of expectations do you outline for them? Do you give them a good roadmap for what success looks like? Those are the things that I see a lot of organizations struggle with. And you can take that same approach and look at a green rep that is a strong hire, but they haven't sold freight or they're new to transportation. But man, they are just going to be really, really good once they get it. If you don't teach them how to go do their jobs well, that person's going to leave and go find an organization that they feel more supported in. And I've seen that, I've made mistakes hiring and training people poorly previously. And you look at it and go, gosh, they're rocking it somewhere else, right? Like knocking it out of the park, doing extremely well. And a lot of it is because of support, right? It
Mhm.
would be like coaching a team with no playbook. You put them out there on the field against the rest of the competition. You say, hey, like, just go run the plays. And they're like, we don't know what the plays are. So it doesn't matter how talented they are, right? They need to know what they're supposed to be doing and what your expectations are.
No, that's great stuff. So let me back up to Molo. Clearly, um, there was a team that was in sync doing what you're describing. But tell us some of the characteristics of the culture, specifically the production side of the culture. What were some of the just core characteristics that drove the performance of that organization?
I think the first one is grit and determination. Sounds
Mhm.
cliche, but I'll tell you right now, you need to be able to work with people and find people that are not afraid to roll their sleeves up and do the tough, challenging work. Because when you're growing an organization, or if you're an established organization battling the market today, you need to be able to deal with the challenges of being told no or having opportunities kind of fall to the wayside or not convert. Are you the kind of person that's going to fold when that happens? Or do you step up and say, fantastic, I got to come in tomorrow with the same level of intensity and bring the heat because I can't let this one opportunity stop me from finding a way to build a book of business? I think that grit and determination is a part of it because before COVID, we were kind of like a nobody, right? Like you spend the first 3 years building the business and we were a couple $100 million shop, less than $200 million brokerage, approaching March of 2020. We grew from a $200 million business to a $600 million business before we were acquired. Uh, but everybody was in the trenches doing the work, right? You've got executive level leadership building and scheduling shipments, cold calling shippers, right? Working on RFPs. I think that grit and determination teaches your team how to go and do the work. Also, in terms of characteristics, I think coachability is a big part of it. So there were a lot of people who were part and are still part of the organization, and Molo was their first job in freight, their first job in freight sales, but they were really, really coachable. They're the kind of people that say, man, look, if you say that this is how I'm supposed to go do it, I'll do it, right? Do you want me to go talk to this kind of customer? Fantastic. I'm willing to do that. And they want to spend the time learning from top performers. So I think grit and coachability are extremely important. And also having a team that's extremely supportive. So sometimes you'll see higher level performers that distance themselves from the newbies, but there's so much knowledge to be gained from this rep that's done it for 10 or 15 years, or maybe they're newer to the industry. They've been at Molo 3 or 4 years, but they're really good at what they do. A lot of those people just super willing to give back and supportive, wanting to see those other people succeed. So I think those things are characteristics that you want to look for when you're building that team.
Excellent. I hope everyone's listening because that's good stuff right there. All right, let's go to the main event. Journey. Man, we met in Chicago and just basically, maybe it just launched, maybe it was pre-launch, but it's exploding. Congratulations, number one.
Thank you.
Number two, what talk about the severity of the problems that
Mhm.
that you're addressing and why there's been such a response to what you're doing.
I think there's been such a response because it is actually really hard to go find top talent. Some of that has to do with just attracting those people. So, how do you get them to pay attention to your organization? And what's really cool is now I get the opportunity to work with a lot of different organizations. I'm not representing just one brand, right? There's tons of really cool transportation companies that are on their way to become the next, just really hallmark companies that people are familiar with, but you don't know them today. They could be a 60 or $70 million shop and they just don't have that much notoriety and publicity. Well, that's a challenge if you want to attract top talent from any of the publicly traded companies or any of
Right.
the larger privately held companies. So they just don't know who you are. So what's been interesting for us has been the fact that we've been able to get in front of incredible talent. A lot of it has come through relationships. Some of it has come inbound as people have seen what we're working on. They say, gosh, I'm an executive at an organization. I'm looking for my next opportunity. Can you help us? Right. So we develop those relationships. But a lot of it just comes down to really the publicity part. Some of these small companies, people just don't know who they are. And so we've
Mhm.
got an opportunity we're working on today for a placement for a VP level role. And it's really cool because the person that's working through that right now and is going to have an opportunity to help build that organization. What they said to us was, this company is amazing. I just didn't even know they existed. And so that is a big challenge. I think also, trusting yourself to vet talent is really, really hard. Like there are top professionals that recruit and build teams, and it is an extremely valuable skill. And
Mhm.
so it's fun having the opportunity to help people understand how to identify what top performers look like across different positions because we had a front row view and I had an opportunity to do that while building and scaling Molo. So you've had so many conversations working through those things that you can pass that to a 30, 40, 50, 60 person organization that maybe hasn't taken their company from 60 people to 600, right? How do you work through those challenges? But a lot of it, man, just being able to be in front of the top people. If they don't know who you are, there's no chance you're going to be able to hire them. And so it's been cool to be an extension of some of those teams.
No, and I think the connection to Tenney Group's world is that more so than ever, um, it's either you have to go hire the talent or you have to go acquire it, one or the other. But you can't win the future without the best talent,
Correct.
and so the paths to do that are um, there's multiple ways, but the destination has to be the same. Like this is a very wonderful but unbelievably unforgiving industry. And
Very much
so
so.
um, um, best not try to win without the best. And so you brought up football
Hmm.
and I don't know if you know this. I played a little football back in the day,
Let's
and
go.
a little D3 ball. And but clearly that had an influence on you. In what ways do you see the gridiron
Mhm.
transferring over into your work as an executive, as an entrepreneur?
So I also played D3 football. I played for 4 years at Illinois Wesleyan. I played corner there. And I think that game in Wesleyan taught me so much about showing up every day, even when you're not a starter, even when things aren't going the way that you like to be or that you would like for them to be, and putting in the effort to see the success. So my first 2 years at Wesleyan, I contributed, but I wasn't a starter, right? You do special teams, you travel with the team, you're practicing, but there's upperclassmen, there's guys that are significantly better than you, right? You come in as a recruit, you're like, I can play ball. And you're like, whoa, there are players way better than me. And so I think it taught me how to be humble and willing to go do the work if you wanted to get that end result. And then I had the opportunity by the time I was a junior to start, senior year, have an opportunity to start all those things. You get the playing time and stuff. But I wouldn't have been able to do that if I wasn't okay with being humble and persevering through the fact that like you got to just put the work in to get on the field. I also think it taught a lot of toughness. It's just hard to play 4 years of a college sport. It is a full time job. Plus, Wesleyan's a really academically rigorous university, and they don't cut any corners. They don't care if you play football. You got to do your homework, right? There's a lot of work to do. And so I think it taught me time management, how to produce high quality work in shorter periods of time. And I mean, you know how it is. That's the nature of the beast of the game that we're in now. It's like you got a short window of time. You were telling me a story when we had breakfast about a short window of time to execute something that needed to be done. And the client's like, I don't know if you guys will be able to do that. You're like, we'll figure it out, right? Like those things you learn playing sports really translate. So for me, I mean, a lot of it is perseverance. A lot of lessons of just, hey man, you got to battle. You got to battle through. And I remember my coach said that football is a game of attrition. His name's Norm Ash. He's been the Wesleyan football coach for 36 or 37 years. And he told me that when I was 17, when he was recruiting me, he said, football is a war of attrition. And throughout my 4 years there, I learned that. And I see that now in business. You just got to be willing to outlast a lot of times.
Outlast. That's a good right there. So one more question, wild card. But before we do that, um, well, two more questions. Let me start with this. 2024. What's in store for Journey? What do you have on your vision board? What would you like to see happen with this new venture?
Yeah. So we've had the opportunity so far to see success recruiting. And that to me is the tip of the spear when you look at the services that we can provide and the things that have been successful. I think the next element of that is comprehensive sales training. So we're working on an out of the box solution that will allow people to take sales training and some freight related courses to get their team up to speed, to understand how to execute and do their jobs well. Working through that with a few clients now, which is really exciting. Also, the opportunity to look at how do you partner with good organizations and build the right structure to help their sales teams specifically and other departments that they need to scale out be in a position to grow. I think in terms of differentiators, when we look at what we're doing in the market and being able to have these conversations at the ownership and C-suite, it allows us to dig in and say, hey, we're going to help you go find the right talent. And we'd like to be known as one of the best, one of the top organizations in that space for brokerage. But there's so many more things that we can do. And I think having had the opportunity to build, scale, and exit an organization that was incredibly successful allows us to walk into those rooms and have people go, yep, these are the ones, these are the people that we'd like to work with, because there's so much more than just talent behind what they're working on.
That's a good word right there. So before I get too far ahead of myself, for those in 2024 that are looking to create value, that are looking to differentiate and up their game, what's the best way to contact you?
I am extremely active on LinkedIn, Will Jenkins. I'm also relatively active on Twitter. It's at Will Jenkins WCJ. And then my email is will at Journey Delivers with an S at the end. So JOURNEYDELIVERS.com. And our website is journeydelivers.com. So LinkedIn or my email and Twitter, anything like that.
All right, one last question for a little bit of a wild card, Will. So let's just say you've got one lunch. Sit down with any professional sports coach.
Ooh,
for a life coaching session? Who do you choose and why?
that is a really tough question because I thought you were going to say athlete, and I had my answer chosen. If I were to go with a coach, I would go football, and I probably would go either Bill Belichick or Mike Tomlin. I have a lot of respect for both of them. I'm also a Patriots fan, so it'd be really cool to sit down and talk to Bill. I don't know how fun the back and forth would be on the life coaching stuff, but I do love the success he's seen and what he's built in the Patriots organization. And then Tomlin, likewise, I think they're the two, either the first and second or first and third longest tenured coaches in the NFL. And so I think learning from someone that's been able to succeed at that clip for that long would be really cool. And I just love football, so it'd be sick to talk to them.
I love it. I love it. So, you folks, go out, 10x your business with Will, and then I'll sell it for you on the other side. But how does that sound?
I like it.
I like it. Hey, listen, Will, that's going to do it for us in the hot seat. Thanks so much for the value that you brought to our network. We'll see you next time.